All right. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Didball, members of the council. So we ready?
Yes. And this is going to be, our general item, Berry School Waterline Extension Project Design Services Awards. Thanks, Benjamin.
All right, so good evening. The item I have before you is in regarding to providing water to Berry Elementary School. So a little background information. The school is located at the corner of Berry Road and 99, south of town, about a good couple miles south of town. So it's down there a ways. There's approximately 700 students that attend the school, and they've been plagued with water quality issues over the years. The most major issue is a high arsenic level, and it's basically the EPA has issued them a violation. So over the last 5 or so plus years, they've been working with the State Water Board to come up with a game plan on how to resolve that issue. And so they had an initial study where they looked at options on putting treatment on site, providing drinking water through different means, and the consideration of running a water line down from Yuba City down to the school. And with that proposal, it analyzed all the different options and the cost-benefit ratio, and the chosen path was basically the most effective means was to extend the water line and consolidate with the city of Yuba City. So in 2015, the city partnered with the school district, Yuba City Unified, and got with the water board to look at our options for if this was possible, since it's extending the water out of our sphere and down into Sutter County in such a long line. And in the city, moving forward in good faith with the school district and kind of a win-win for the city and for the school district, we moved forward with a grant application for SRF grant funding. And so with that, we've been working through this grant application and environmental processes for the last couple of years. We've been back and forth to council to allow us to put in for the application and then to do some of the environmental work and apply for the grant. So the one last major hurdle for funding is to finalize the technical documents, which is basically the plan specs and estimates for the design. And with that, to move timely, staff went out for a request for proposals to get a consultant. This fall, we advertised it, and we only had one local firm respond, MHM Engineering. So MHM was the one engineering firm that basically responded. I think a lot of the only having one response is because MHM is known to really have really familiar with this project and hard to compete with. MHM is a local outfit that's been working in that area with the Bogue Stewart master plan, and also they just did the design for the Berry School, and so they have a lot of the info and really familiar with that site. So I didn't see a lot of competition. However, with their proposal, their rates are industry standards, and basically the pricing, the way the professional service agreement works is that it's a time and material type basis. So this isn't the not to exceed number, but at the same time they're going to bill us on actual expenses. So some of the stuff in there about utility coordination and some different work we might not fully utilize. We're going to try to minimize those costs as much as we can. And with that, the costs are considered reimbursable when we get the grant, should we get the grant. So right now we've been coordinating really close with the school district and with the water board, the state water board, to ensure that, hey, if we're going through this much trouble, we want to make sure we get the money back. And so the grant is reimbursable. They don't upfront it. I spoke to them again today just to confirm where they're at, and they are definitely expressed their interest to get this and move forward because they're trying to get rid of this EPA violation and make progress on that area. So with that, this Mark Button, the new director of facilities with the school, is here to help answer any questions in support of the project, but he could answer any questions about the school in particular. And I'd be happy to answer any more details about it. But basically, our recommendation to finalize this grant application and move forward with the project is to award the design services to MHM Incorporated of Marysville, California for the design and construction services for the Berry School Waterline Extension Project in the amount of $98,528 plus contingency, finding it in the best interest of the city. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council at this time have any questions?
Through the mayor.
Yes.
Ben, so the sole purpose of this water line, can you give us the restrictions to the use of the water and everything else? There's got to be some limitations to what this line can be used for.
So definitely. So currently, the sphere of influence, it's up by Bogue Road and then zigzags down around the subdivision down to Stewart Road. And so in order to provide water service outside of the sphere, there's LAFCO policy that it has to be for health and safety that meets for a public agency such as a school district. We did a similar action when we did the Franklin School Water Line project back in 2011, 2012, where we technically went outside the sphere, got approval from LAFCO to service water there. And so the water would only be allowed to service that school. And so with that, we would have a looped line that connects up at our current location up on Railroad and Bogue, just south of Bogue, along Railroad, just south of Bogue, around Tuscan, there's a connection point, and then on Stewart at the school there. So we would loop this line, which would have some benefit for the city in providing better water quality and pressure for that southeast quadrant is where there's a benefit to us. But then also, and then this becomes a private main, private lateral basically down here to the school to service them.
So are there restrictions that in the future no residences could hook up to this?
Not until the area would come into the sphere of influence and then into the city limits.
So the size of the line that's currently being put in, is it just adequate just to serve the Berry School site is all?
So the line sizes in the along Railroad and Stewart will be sized for the ultimate design, which is 16 and a 14-inch line. The service line south of Stewart would be a 3-inch line or a 2-inch line just for their service. There's concerns that we don't want to oversize and have a big long dead end because then you run into water quality issues based on the date or the age. So if you have a long line that's that long and it's just used for drinking water and domestic purposes, the age of the water gets old. So it's going to be a smaller service line at that point.
All right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No? Okay. And do we have a motion?
Make a motion for staff's recommendations.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay,
Thank you.
motion approved.